Good afternoon, Luke. Thanks for coming on for a chat. How's it going in NZ right now?
Oh, thanks for having me, Braze. It's actually nice to see that lovely face of yours. Um, NZ's mint, mate. Yeah, as I said, certainly better than this state of Victoria at the moment. It's nice to be moving around pretty freely. It feels like everything's more or less back to normal here.
Hmm.
Um, Bloody stoked to be playing competitive golf again, and yeah, our sort of governing bodies managed to get things up and running. So got a few events to sort of tie us all the way through to Christmas. Um, but yeah, honestly, life in NZ is pretty good, mate.
Mate,
Except for the spring wind. I'm pretty sick of the wind already, but
oh, at least you're
minor
outside.
details.
Yeah, at least you're
Oh,
outside playing
100%.
playing some golf. But yeah, life in NZ is always a good time. We kind of reminiscing this the other day about Queenstown, go and play the NZ Open. Hopefully, fingers crossed it goes
Yeah,
ahead next year. But all these travel implications, who knows? Everything's up in the air right now. But yeah, kind of it was funny watching
yeah.
the news. NZ kind of went the first to go. We're going to do a 4 week lockdown and just shut the whole country down. And, I could see a lot of countries thinking that's crazy. But I mean, you guys have done it. You've probably got the population to do
Mm.
it. But yeah, it's been a challenge. You guys obviously did the lockdown as well, and we're paying for the 6 month lockdown. How was that 4 week lockdown for you? What did you get up to?
A lot of eating, a lot of baking.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty timely for me. I had a pretty busy stretch from about October, end of last year, all the way through to lockdown, which was in March for us.
Mm,
And so we're still meant to have two Charles Tour events left on the schedule before we had a bit of a winter lull.
mm,
Um, but ended up getting cut short, obviously, for COVID. But I was pretty checked out at that point anyway. Well, not checked out, of golf as such, but I was just so knackered.
mm.
So I was kind of in need of a bit of a bit of R&R. Um, so I actually really enjoyed just the first 2 weeks of lockdown doing sweet nothing, chilling out, hanging out
Mm.
with my fiance, um, and yeah, just spending some good old fashioned time watching some Netflix, making some good food. And
Mm.
then after about 2 weeks, I started to get the itch back, and by the end of the 4 weeks, I was ready to get out and play some golf. Eh?
Yeah, it's pretty well, we've been in all year, we've kind of just got used to it. But your first couple of
Yeah,
weeks you kind of just enjoy, kind of sitting around doing whatever. But it's as a professional golfer, and especially any athlete at any high level, you never get this chance to just stop and reflect. And like
yeah,
a lot of people
yeah,
I speak to about this, it's probably like the biggest blessing in disguise. My body's never felt better. It's kind of crazy to think of like
yeah,
how much golf we've played over the years, but I'm going to probably have to get up my golf fitness again, especially walking. Might have to get a buggy, but no, I'll be playing 9 holes just to kind of build that up. But yeah, it's pretty great.
yeah.
You guys have got all these Charles Tour events. That's awesome. How many events do you have moving forward? I'd love to touch on your win last week as well. That'd be great.
Yeah, bro. We have probably only three events left,
Hmm.
um, excluding the one we're playing this week. But we have had three already. So, like, yeah, it's pretty good effort, really, from such a small governing body to throw that much cash together for us to
Hmm.
play for and just get us moving again. So,
Hmm.
kudos to them. They've done a great job because I can't imagine it was easy.
No,
Um,
no way.
yeah. So yeah, we got a little bit to play for, which is nice. Last week was epic. That's my home track and hometown back there, so it's always nice to do it in front of them and for them. I sort of have this, I don't know, I feel I have like this sort of responsibility in a way to play well for them and give back to them. And I know that's not how they view it at all. They just want me to go out and enjoy it, but
Hmm.
you always have that sort of deep hope, I guess, to turn it on for them. So it was wicked to pull through on the weekend. That was really nice.
Yeah, saw some highlights on the bit of the social media feed, and you had an albatross in there, and you kind of got it done in the end. It's obviously really satisfying to win, especially when you do lots of work. I've been seeing you do a lot of things on Instagram and all that stuff. You're going through changes, and you've had this time to really reflect on everything, and winning in front of your home crowd. That's especially your home club. That's I haven't done it yet. I'd love to do it in front of your home fans. It's just yeah, definitely very satisfying. Yeah, I'm sure the calls and texts flooded through for sure.
It was wicked, eh? Yeah. That club in particular, actually, they're pretty special to me. I think they sort of got me back on my feet midway through last year. I was kind of at the back end of 12 months of just playing so average. And I'd sort of exhausted all my financial resources, and they were the first to, well, once they got wind of what I was up to and what was going on, they were the first to just throw their hands up and say, hey, let's get you back on your feet again and get you playing some tournament golf. And they came up with enough cash to get me back to China. And that was just enough to sort of get some momentum going, and then came back and sort of started a hot run after that, which was really nice. So yeah, it was awesome actually, sort of walking down that last fairway with that crowd behind me. It was, yeah, one of those things I think I'll probably remember for quite a while.
Yeah, beautiful. You might as well give the club a shout out. What's the course, and was that where you begun your junior career, or is that just a club you picked up on the way?
Yeah, the club I picked up on the way is Tauranga Golf Club.
Yep.
Actually not far from Rotorua, which is obviously
Yeah.
where you've got some family there.
I got a whole
Um,
tribe back there. So
so
yeah.
we're probably related, to be honest.
Well, more than likely,
um,
third cousin or something. Yeah.
So I'm actually, yeah, I'm from just over the hill in Hamilton, which is, yeah, just about an hour away. But my coach is over in Tauranga, so I moved over about 4 years ago, and have just, yeah, practiced there ever since, and they've kind of taken me in as their own, and become like an adopted son. Was just saying that I love spending time with the members there, and yeah, happily go and have a sort of roll up tea time with the Thursday men, or I'll even jump in and have a coffee and a cake with the ladies on a Tuesday morning if I can. They're just all lovely people, eh? So
Yeah.
that's good. I absolutely love it there. It's just a really easy place to, I don't know, I feel like it's different when you just enjoy your working environment. Not that I've ever viewed golf as work anyway. Just I'm one of those annoying golf geeks, that I think so many people actually despise traveling with on tour. But yeah, I eat, sleep, and breathe golf. So now that club makes it really easy for me to I don't know, just enjoy the day in, day out grind, really.
Yeah, I think the importance of actually really loving golf and playing social golf is huge, especially when we're going through a pandemic right now and like a global financial crisis. It's like everything's just boiled into one. But a lot of golfers at the end of this have really got to do you love golf? Do you want to continue with it, especially at a higher level? And it's great to have courses you can just go there and you feel like a normal person. You don't feel like this professional golfer that some members are sometimes reluctant to speak to, and bigger than golf, which we aren't. We're still people. Like I still have
Totally.
I still have at least 2 almond lattes a day. That's kind of standard practice. But yeah, it's
how good's an almond latte,
mate. I'm all in. I'm all in. But yeah, I think it sounds like you've got that at your home course there, and that's just fantastic. I think a lot of people need to have that, and I think a lot of professional golfers don't, and you kind of see them resenting golf at the end of it.
Definitely. Yeah, there's I feel like I've met so many people already, and I guess in the scheme of things, I'm barely a rookie as far as a golfing career goes. But I feel like I've met so many sort of tour stalwarts already that you can just see that they loathe golf. Like it's almost as they're just still there because that's what they're good at, and that's all they really know, and they feel like they kind of have to do it. And yeah, I know it's been good learning for me so early in my career. I've kind of made a vow to myself that, you know, that's the antithesis of what I want to be. So yeah, as I said, I'm an absolute golf geek, so I love it.
Yeah, that's sweet. I think you know, your pathway to your professional life, I think there's always like these breaking points where you think, you know, I want to do this further. I really want to do this for the long haul, this 25, 20, you know, 30-year journey to the end of seniors or whatever it is. And, you know, that might have been, you know, a top amateur performance, or you kind of got exposed to someone that now is a major champion. You know, you kind of play off all these amateurs along the way. What was that moment for you? And then you just went full steam ahead.
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've been really, really fortunate to kind of have almost really quite quick affirmations as far as like milestones go. Sort of set my sights on things as a junior, and then as an amateur, like whether that was making a New Zealand team or, and then it was playing Eisenhower, all that sort of thing. So there's always kind of been like steady steps, and that kind of almost reassurance, if you like, that I can do it, that I am on the right path. And there's not one moment in particular where I'm like, that was the moment that made me want to do it for life. I can remember as a 8-year-old watching Tiger hole putts, and that was enough to be like, I want to be that guy. And so yeah, I'm still here, still kicking. Honestly, if I'm it's probably the opposite. I think when I've had like really low moments of bad form or whatever, there's never been a single part of me that's been like, that's it, I'm sick of this, you know, time to start selling used cars. I've always just wanted to find the answer and sort of grit my teeth and then just keep digging until I dig myself out of the hole. I actually played with one of the sort of young amateurs that's playing quite well over here at the moment, Jimmy Hides, and he asked, you know, how do you know when you're ready to turn pro? For me, I don't feel like there was ever a time, or there ever is a time, where your ducks are so in a row that it's so obvious to turn pro. You know, you could be the best amateur in the world and not know, or you would know if you were the best amateur in the world.
Yeah.
But even then, you know, like you still don't know emotionally if you're ready for that jump or whatever. But to me, I think if it's just the next natural step for your own personal growth, then it makes sense to turn pro regardless of how you feel about it. And also the other question I would ask anybody is like, do you love golf to the point where if you shoot 82, your response is to want to work it out, to, you know, stay on the range and want to figure it out? Or do you just want to get off the golf course as fast as possible and check out? And I think so many people like to say that they'd stay and grind, but I think there's far less that genuinely want to do that just because they enjoy the day in, day out grind of it.
Yeah, it's a huge topic unpacking. Just like going back to, you know, like you're saying about, you know, when you go through your lows and everything like that, I think that definitely begs the question to yourself that, do I have a backbone? Am I willing to get back up? And am I going to continue to keep doing this and looking for answers? And it's in those moments that you really kind of define yourself and you think, am I resilient? Can I do this? Because, you know, life's just not nice and up all the time. We know
it's certainly not.
It's up, down and around. And, you know, you really need to, you know, identify strategies for you to kind of deal with that, you know, performance, you know, performing at a high level at more times than not. But it's it's not for everyone. I think, you know, when you're a top amateur, life's pretty simple. You know, you get paid to go to
Yeah.
these, you get paid to fly all over the world, you know, pre-COVID and everything. But it's pretty sweet. You know, like I had a good run there for a couple of years, and you just think, well, life's great. And, you know, the next step in your professional journey is turning professional when you're not ready most of the time. For me, like reflecting on it, and kind of went over this a few times in the podcast, is that I look back on it now and I definitely wasn't ready, and I knew it. And it's just kind of like, well, you just kind of jump in the deep end and hopefully you don't drown. It kind of feels like that sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny to talk about it, you know, especially because, you know, it's such a high level as an amateur, and I didn't think I was ready. That's crazy to say. Like, if any amateurs listening,
Mm.
it's like, wow, you're at the pinnacle of amateur golf and you didn't think you were ready. It's like, well, that's just how I felt of where my levels were or what I needed to grow. But, you know, I've learned so much being a professional. That's, you know, you've
Yeah.
sounds like you've learned so much along the way. Our paths are crossed. You know, it's funny where you cross people's paths. The last time I saw you previously to, you know, getting your card back in Australia was a China Q school. You know, you won the Q school
Mm.
there. It was like the toughest course in the world. Just a crazy experiment. But, you know, going back to your, you know, going through lows, is there any strategies you've used to kind of, you know, rebound quicker than, you know, other things? I think, you know, it's not just you try one thing and it's the first thing that works. We all know that's not the thing. You know, and
Throw the spaghetti and hope it sticks.
yeah, we've all stayed in bed for, you know, a week. We've kind of wasted weeks away when
Yeah.
we're going through these tough things, or we can't figure it out, or life's just too hard. But, you know, is there a couple of things you've done to kind of, you know, bounce back from that a little bit quicker than the last time?
Yeah, I think I was I wasn't afraid to really unpack myself as a human being more than anything. Um, I, yeah, talking about my own experience specifically. So I, oh, still there, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Um, I, what was the course of it? So it was about January. Sorry, no, it was about halfway through 2018. My contract ended with a sponsor that I had, and instantly my mind went to, okay, you've only got this much cash left, which will get you, you know, to about this far through next year if the form's not good. And I was crippled hugely by the timeline that I'd sort of given myself.
Mm,
Um, I put so much pressure on myself to go, you know, week to week and dollar to dollar. And I just couldn't get out of my own way. And then I was so worried about what would happen, you know, if I couldn't afford to travel, couldn't afford to play. You know, then there's all sorts of personal things on top of that too. Like, you know, what if my friends like me less?
oh,
Like there's so many unreasonable things that you make up and tell yourself in your own head.
mm,
Um, you know, who am I going to have to answer to basically, and which
mm,
feels like, you know, the weight of the world at the time,
mm,
until my bank account literally got to $0 and I woke up the next morning and everything was the same. And all my friends still love me the same. And my parents still love me the same. My coach still loves me the same. My fiance still loves me the same. And I just remember thinking that was literally like that for me. There was no steady progression. I just woke up one morning and thought, holy heck, you know, what have I been doing for 12 months? You know,
mm,
worrying about this stuff, it really just doesn't matter.
mm,
And so that kind of sent me on a little bit of a journey across about 6 months or so, really just being quite self-critical and self-aware of my own thoughts and habits, and where my own sort of insecurities led. And then that sort of, they come out as behaviors, right?
mm,
Um, and I didn't even realize how much that affected like my own, you know, training and practice habits. And um, I guess on paper, like if I was recording a timesheet, everything would have looked the same. Like the amount of hours that I spent at the golf course was the same. The reasons I was practicing were so different in that 6 months. It wasn't out of, um, it wasn't for reassurance that, oh my God, like, thank goodness I can still do this. Yes, I'm, you know, I can hit a 6 iron. from a good lie, on a practice fairway. It sort of became more about a direction that I wanted to go, and I wasn't afraid to sort of go and train and, bugger it up. And I know it felt like I just had so much more direction without fear of crashing. And it's easy to say now because a few months after that, I started to play really well. Who knows if I was, if this was 12 months after and I was still, shooting 74 and missing cuts, it'd be interesting to see where my head was at there. But certainly feels like that freedom from failure, I guess, was the big thing that that changed 12 months ago.
Yeah, it's definitely being self-critical, and you touched on awareness of what's actually happening, and the world isn't over when it crashes and burns, and it's going to be fine. All my day ones are still going to be there. They're going to love me no matter what. We've got a little cat fur baby now, and life's going to be the same regardless if you win a check or not, you bring nothing home, or your days like this or days like that. But it's definitely having that awareness. It just
definitely
and just drumming it in and letting go of all those insecurities that I can do this, especially because if you're a good player like you are, if you just let it go and swing freely and you've done the work, you'll play well. It's nearly as simple as that. It's hard to kind of realize that when you're battling, struggling through, especially because then you throw in like you're downing yourself, and then mental. It's just a compounding effect. We've all been there. It's tough to get out of, but it's like building a mental muscle. It feels like that. It's really hard to kind of articulate if you haven't been through that struggle. And it's interesting as well when you talk to a couple of people, and if you open up about these struggles and stuff, and a lot of people have went through it more than you thought. You kind of see people are just doing really well for themselves, and you think, oh, everyone thinks just sunshine and roses. It's not always like that. It's hard to kind of get over that as well. But it's an interesting game that we both love dearly, and we're going to continue to keep going on. But what's your mindset moving forward, obviously into a COVID normal world, especially living in New Zealand? Your life is going to be pretty good for now, I think, in relation to the world. Are you kind of looking to propel yourself into another tour when borders eventually open in the next decade? It kind of feels like, but I'm not too sure what New Zealander golfers are thinking. It's a bit hard to see right now because it's, especially in Australia, we're kind of just trying to get out of our suburb. But for a New Zealander golfer, what's your kind of pathway to a bigger tour, say a European tour or Japan tour or PGA tour?
I would have dearly loved to really make the most of the Aussie status that I got through Q School at the start of this year. There's obviously a few sort of small European tour opportunities there, with the odd co-sanction and some order of merit starts as well if you finish high enough on that order of merit. So that it seemed like must be about 8-9 months ago now that was going to be my pathway to try and do well on the status, do well with the status that I did have, and also give European Tour Q School another crack this year. Whereas years before, I think just having been in China, I would have gone the Corn Ferry US route. It's a crazy game that we play. The way that it's set up, there's no clear pathway. It's not like it's not like rugby or something where you just naturally go from school to provincial rugby to super rugby to international rugby. For us, the doors are constantly opening and closing all the time. And your 6-month plan, your 6-month plan is literally changing week to week based on where you finish in the event. So that being said, European tour would have been nice this year.
Yeah.
We're kind of going to have to wait and see what happens with our little Trans-Tasman bubble. Hopefully, if that gets cracking, then we can sort of get on with the remainder of the season. And yeah, although given the news yesterday, it's probably not ideal.
Yeah, the Aussie Open's been cancelled for next year, and the Aussie PGA. So they're looking to get 9 events to have an official season. They've had 4 so far. It looks like they may get it, but we had a bit of a player meeting this morning, and we all kind of know the inevitable's coming. It kind of feels like probably might have jumped the gun there, but it has that feeling to it. I kind of felt this way in May, the start of the year with it all. It's just one of those years. It's going to kind of go into next year, especially now that we're in a recession officially. But it's funny. I was just thinking previously that we're kind of on these 3 parallel timelines of kind of your journey of your golf progression of how good we can get into a relation of which tour we're kind of progressing through, like you're giving that analogy to the New Zealand rugby, and we, have a lot of AFL kind of thing. There's similar pathways. It's very clear cut of where you're going. And then the third timeline to that is kind of how much money can I keep going till I go broke? That's kind of like the 3. That's kind of the 3 timelines that gel together. And we're kind of on pause right now, it feels like. But I guess probably the one thing, not being able to leave the, your suburb or country or state or whatever it is, you're not spending a lot of money, you're kind of living a normal life. So you can probably do a lot more work on yourself and be ready for when it does open up again. So that's probably one positive out of all of this. But it's just a waiting game. I can't imagine, what it's like over there, but it's tough here. I know it's tough here.
Well, I guess that's the one thing about our careers. It's so heavily dependent on what the rest of the world is doing as well. So we just have to take a back seat really and go with the flow. I don't think there's any point stressing about, being able to get somewhere or not. No amount of, freaking out is going to get Donald Trump to open borders to anybody. So no chance.
We've got all these elections going on, and I think you guys have one this weekend. The US has one in 3 weeks or something, unless another COVID scare happens again. But we're going to leave politics out of the podcast. But
we definitely will. Yeah,
it's an interesting time. I know a lot of my friends are thinking, either they're going to get a job now and kind of wait it out. Obviously, we don't hit 34 and it's over, the career's over. We can obviously keep playing for the rest of our lives, it feels. So golf's huge positive for that. Some of your players, your friends that are thinking either job-wise or studying, I've kind of dived into that thinking, well, I might as well further my education, see if I can add a few more words into my vocab. So it's kind of helping the podcast, I guess.
Sweet. Sweet. The podcast is going well, mate. I've listened in on a few episodes and really enjoyed it, eh?
Thanks, appreciate it. Kind of ticking along.
Yeah. Well, the one with Ryan McCarthy I thought was brilliant, mate. It's so nice to hear candid interviews, I think. Because as you said before, we only really see each other, once every 12 months if you're lucky, unless you're playing on the same tour. And then outside of that, it's whatever you get on social media, which we all know is just a huge misrepresentation of what's really going on. So I've really enjoyed the podcast, mate. It's wicked.
No, it's been fun. It's kind of helped my speaking skills. So hopefully when I can get up there and win another event, I can put a few words together on the mic. But that'll be the next step in the journey.
You can walk down the 72nd hole without having to worry about the speech.
Well, some of that. I'll just take golf at the moment. If I can play golf next week, that'll be a huge plus. Hopefully, by the time this podcast comes out, I'm on the golf course, and that'll be a good little omen. But yeah, it's you just thinking of just training your way through this COVID kind of thing, and hopefully it rolls out. Are you thinking job, or are you gonna study? There's so many options, I guess.
Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah. Again, it's probably a good thing with golf. There's actually so many avenues and opportunities to, fund yourself as a player or as at least a golf pro. So I figure I'll probably give it, until April within our own country. And then I know that our calendar will go into a lull. So if borders really haven't opened up by then, given the fact that I'm trying to save for a wedding and trying to save for a home, buying my first home, I'm gonna have to do something. Yeah, I mean, as I say, fingers crossed that the borders are open by then. But if not, then it'll probably be somewhere in the route of just doing some coaching stuff, doing some PGA papers, and so I can coach. And then just hopefully accumulate enough money to keep things ticking over until we can play again.
Yeah, just do the best you can. That kind of seems like the all the news kind of coming through, and it's a day-to-day thing. That's kind of what I keep trying to tell myself while I'm watching the last 100 days go by in lockdown. But it's been interesting. Got one question I wrote down that was quite interesting. How much do you know about Aussie rules football? And
zero, pretty much, mate.
Zero. No.
I know. Yeah, I I know that a Kiwi boy dominates your sport, so that's good to know.
Yeah, Dusty.
Old Dusty.
He's playing tonight. If you're interested, he's playing tonight in a prelim to get into the grand final. So they're playing. Richmond are playing Port Adelaide. It'll be on at 9:50 your time. So you're probably nice and tucked up and off to bed. So
maybe I'll flick it on a little bit later. I've got a later start tomorrow, so I can afford to stay up a little bit later.
Okay.
My mate that I was talking about that lives in Richmond, he's like dead keen on footy. So he sends our group chat the odd post about what Dusty's up to and how unreal he is, but which I know nothing about.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd say my knowledge is pretty limited, mate.
Well, when you come over here, I'm in Melbourne now, so we'll definitely get you out to a game. There's nothing like
Love
it.
to.
Heaps of fans at the G's. I'm a West Coast guy, so Perth, but we don't have many games. And obviously this year we didn't have any, but next year hopefully we can get in the stands and kind of live it out. But yeah, obviously you're a New Zealander, All Blacks through and through. Who's your favorite player and an idol growing up?
Are you talking about rugby?
Rugby
union or
union? Sorry, union. Yeah.
Just I'm thinking about the days where you're sort of running around in the backyard with your mates, commentating your own footy match as you're going. I was a huge Christian Cullen fan.
Okay, yeah.
When I was young. I was a pretty big Andrew Mertens fan. It's hard to go past Dan Carter as well as a player. But honestly, I think the guy that's been most impactful for me, probably Richie McCaw, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a beast. He is a beast. Just his mentality and his approach to the sport as a whole, not just as a, selfishly as a player. And a number 7 jersey, like just the way that he approached it for a whole team to come together and win on the bigger stage, I think is pretty wicked. So there's never been another guy like him and the way he's approached it all.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude.
I don't think there'll ever be another one like him. It's funny, obviously my dad's a Kiwi. I'm through and through. I was watching All Blacks New Zealand Rugby Union before I was watching Aussie Rules. Obviously I'm into it now, huge time living in Melbourne. But yeah, my idol growing up was Richie and Dan, but Richie read his book, obviously after watching him for years, got a lot of flack from my mates, obviously living in Australia. They're like, you need to barrack for your team. And I'm like, Dad got in too early. I was just loved it. We actually went to the All Blacks Wallabies game in Perth last year, and they got beaten. So they got flogged actually when someone got sent off, which I was just distraught. First time I actually watched them, they get killed. It was kind of Very, very disappointing. It was good to see Test match rugby on last week. Hopefully,
Yeah, what a result too.
yeah, it was a good game. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was a good game. Yeah. Um, I don't think poor old Rico Ioane will live that disallowed try down. That was a
Oh,
nightmare.
oh,
Um, and I must admit, myself and the rest of the remaining players in the clubhouse after last Sunday were pretty steamed at the time watching it. So I don't remember a whole lot of that game, but
well, yeah,
I
well,
do.
you won, so there's no excuse. There's no excuses.
Yeah, I do. I definitely remember Rico failing to get two hands on the ball once he had crossed the line. Bit of a blowout. But then again, we also had a try where,
Stepped out of bounds.
yeah,
So
he stepped out. So, I mean, bit of give and take, I guess.
is what it is. We kind
It
of.
was a hell of a game.
It was a
Good
good
way to
game.
start.
It's a good
Yeah, it was
game,
good. And
especially
this Sunday will be wicked too.
yeah at the Cauldron. No one wins at Eden Park. That's kind of my whole thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no, after watching him last week, I'm thinking, geez, Aussie actually played better. I'm a
Yeah.
bit nervous actually, but
Yeah.
hopefully we show up a bit more. But it'll be an interesting
Yeah.
game.
The
Lots
boys
of
have got a new coach with Dave Rennie, obviously running the
Mhm.
ship now.
Yeah,
And Checker gone, which I mean, it's always hard for us to know like what things are really like because our medias are so biased around anybody
oh,
Kiwi and rugby, so hard to
yeah.
know. But from our eyes, Checker looked like a drop kick. So nice to see Dave Rennie running the ship there.
That's really funny. Yeah. Well, Union here is like it honestly is like the third or fourth sport. Like Aussie
100%. Yeah.
Aussie rules dominates huge, and then cricket,
Yeah.
and then, geez, I wouldn't even say. I'd say league is the next one, and then probably
Yeah.
tennis, and we have tennis for literally 2 weeks a year. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I don't know. We're spoilt for choice here. Yeah, it's an
Do you
interesting.
support a league team?
No, so we didn't have one in
No.
Perth. I'm in Melbourne now, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
do I go for the Storm? But I'm like, oh, I don't know. So me and my mate kind of joked that we'll go for the Raiders just because they're in Canberra. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I enjoy watching Union more. Just it's just
Yeah.
the ultimate. Like a great game of Union's just way better than a great game of league. That's how I've always seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess the product of league is more consistent. You don't. Sometimes you watch a South African game and they kick it 100 times a game, and it's just really frustrating to watch. They're not
Yeah.
actually playing rugby, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh, you'd have to. Next time I'm over, mate, you're gonna have to get me to the G.
mate,
I'd love to watch
nothing
a game
better.
of footy with you, and you'll be
Honestly,
able to at least talk me through it and tell me what's going on.
yeah. It's very like I found it quite confusing watching to begin with because knock-ons aren't a thing and like hand
Yeah.
passes is like a no forward passes and how people kind of deliver. But it's a crazy game. Yeah, obviously have to get you there with Anthony Marcassani. He's the king of all that stuff. He just loves it. He
Yeah.
bleeds Carlton Blues. So it's
Right.
hopefully get to one of those games. Yeah, closing up. I always like to kind of try to embed this question because I think it's such a valuable question. Is a message to your 15-year-old self, lessons you've learned and advice you would have loved to hear back then in those teenage years. Yeah.
That is such a good question. It's probably come across as a little bit cliche and cheesy, but honestly, just tell them to be authentic.
Yeah.
Just,
No, that's fine.
yeah. I think for so long I was such a people pleaser and just wanted to be in the cool kids group.
Mm.
And I was always, like literally searching for something that was going to get attention or love or reassurance. So I feel like I had it's all growth in the end, but yeah, there were definitely some wasted minutes, just, people pleasing unnecessarily. So, yeah, I would have just told my 15-year-old self to just go and be me, bro.
Be you. Define Mr. Luke Toomey. Who's that? That's me. And just live in those shoes. I think probably the biggest compliment you can give someone is, or like be known for, is just they're so comfortable in their own shoes. They're not trying to fit anyone else's, and that's all that matters. Like
Yeah.
not trying to
It's
fit.
often quite funny, the people that are most infectious, regardless of how, wonderfully weird they are often the ones that are just completely them.
Mm.
That, yeah. Yeah, not that the point of this message is obviously to be authentic so you get love, but it's just funny to point out, I think, that often the people that I'm like, I want to hang out more with that guy, so quintessentially weird that, I don't know, it's just infectious to be around.
Yeah, well, this stereotype of being different is so much more accepted these days.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
it's great how the world's kind of evolving in that it's like it's great to be weird and like and eccentric or whatever it is. It's really cool, really really cool. Yeah, great message. I would have loved to hear that. I got very lucky in that my dad was just kind of just do whatever you want. He's living
Yeah.
his own journey. He's living proof of that. But yeah, it's been a ride. It's been really it's been great to catch up and have a bit of a yarn about a few things we kind of living through right now. But yeah, I like to always round
Yeah,
this
man.
chat up with a one question. You can kind of ask me anything you like and anything you've ever
For you,
wondered. Yeah, so
I the first time I heard the name Brady Watt, I think was at a New Zealand amateur at the Mount, which is where I live now, Mount Wanganui.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that might have been the start of a real hot streak for you. And then maybe 12 months later, you're world number one at the time. If you could have bottled whatever that was, what was it? And what would you have done differently for the 5-6 years following?
Yeah, so yeah, really, really wicked week. There was a funny week, that one. It was I was having a practice round. Dad kind of rocked up and they were really full. Like we had a tea time, but they had public playing and we played 6 holes and Dad was like, this is taking 2 hours. We should just drive home. We won't worry about the practice round. We'll get through the 2 rounds of stroke play and we'll get you into the match play. So I honestly just played 6 holes in the practice round and went home and had a pretty good week. But I think what was probably so special about that week was just, you talk about a home feel, kind of that, say with family and just up the road, an hour up the road. And it just, I don't know. I don't think I quite appreciated what I was going through at that time, especially that, that year run after that. It was kind of something you kind of build towards your whole career. You're talking about your stepping stones and all that stuff. I didn't, you obviously have this vision of you going through all these things. And at the end of that, it's funny. I didn't actually have professional on the radar. I kind of got thrown into it. I was kind of like, well, my highest market value right now is to turn professional. I need to do that, but I didn't quite back up the goals of what I wanted to do moving forward with all that, because you have such a short window to perform. It's kind of, I think a lot of people don't kind of realize that, when you turn professional and you get your couple starts, some people get 7 starts and, it's a sprint and then you get your card and then you have to perform for your first year because you don't have quite the best category number. And yeah, it's an interesting journey, and
there's a whirlwind those first few years for sure.
Yeah, and you kind of, I think why I did so well in New Zealand and for those first year after that, really leading up to the end of 2013 when I was leading amateur at the Aussie Open and kind of where world number one was in the realm of all that stuff, was it just every week felt like I was staying at home and literally just everything felt normal. It was just literally felt like
there was
playing.
No agenda, or it was just playing for the love of playing.
I was just playing golf. I was honestly just playing golf. And I think it's funny when I go back to last year when I just played pro-ams last year. It was my first year playing full year Pro-Am, and I was just stoked to play golf again because 2018 I had a year off golf and kind of trying to find myself in the middle of that. And it was just playing because I love golf again. And it was just something I happened to be pretty good at. And it wasn't like a big event. And it's so cliche. It's like, just treat every other event like another event. You know, it's nothing's bigger than it is. And, you know, I think some of those opportunities I had, it felt like, you know, the pressure of performing and not quite having everything settled at the point where it is now. You know, I'm just a lot more sure of myself and everything involved in my life, because, you know, golf is such a small part of that. I think people they see golf as a, you know, it's just everything, but, you know, your result is kind of a accumulation of everything in your life and how it's going. It's probably a good indication of how you're doing in life. That's probably a good way to. It's funny because I don't think I've ever played well when everything off the course isn't going well. You know, like you have your rare moments, but like, say, you know, like I went through a breakup and went through, you know, going through tough times financially, or you're not sure where you're going to be living next year. I don't think I've ever had a good result. I don't think anyone has. It's like literally a shooting star, but life is a lot easier when things are going well off the course. You know, I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed in a lot of people's lives. You know, it's something I've learned firsthand big time. And, you know, as you know, going back to your question, like as an amateur, I was just living, like literally I was living such a good life. And I had the thought I was going to play Eisenhower. I think the one you played the year after, it was 2014. It might have been. I think it was the one.
I played. I played the one after 2016.
Yeah. So I was 2014. I was like, perfect. I want to play the Eisenhower. That's like a pinnacle amateur event. You know, I've heard all these people, they win them, and that's just something you've done for your country. And the opportunity obviously showed up at the end of 2013 to turn professional, and it was weird because you take a detour and you think, well, mate, I'm going to do this now. It's like, oh, well, I was set on doing that, and then going into that, it's a whirlwind for sure. I think this professional top level golf is not for everyone, and it's a ride. It's honestly like it can feel like a day-to-day kind of thing, a week to week. You know, you're not sure where you're going to go from Thailand to Puerto Rico to, you know, I kind of ended up in Dominican Republic some weeks, it felt like, but actually did end up in Dominican Republic. Actually did. Actually did. Well, yeah, you kind of look at all the countries and all the places you've been and all the different things. Geez, I did that, and I'm only 30. It's like, well, you've got your whole life in front of you. What have you learned from then, and what are you going to do now? But yeah, quick synopsis of that. Try and make every week feel like a home game. You know, feel very comfortable where you are, whether that's with friends or family or someone you're staying with, or try and make it feel as normal as possible. Have your routines down pat on what you're going to do on the golf course, what you're going to do with all the free time outside of it. And just rest, drink lots of water, and just be prepared for everything in front of you, and keep your mind active. I think that's huge. I think I've been studying for 20 something weeks again, half the year now, because we've just been in a lockdown. But no, it's been nice. Read if you're not going to do that. That's a few tips I've learned along the way. Put good things in your ears, put good things in your mind, and you'll lead your most authentic self, as Rich Roll would say, I guess. Interesting.
Awesome, Brad.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Thanks for your time, Luke. I hope you play well this weekend. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow you off the course, but I look forward to releasing this episode on Monday. I'm sure the responses would be fantastic. And if I can get you a win, I'll put it in the show notes and everything. But you're a legend. I hope you keep going on with your journey, and I hope our paths cross soon when this Trans-Tasman bubble is available to everyone in the mix.
Thanks, mate. As I said before, like there's certain people that are just authentic and just quintessentially themselves, and I feel like you're one of those people. I always feel so easy around you. So yeah, well, even though you're in Victoria, but nah, thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro.